Good afternoon today, Campbell. Tartaria Australian Autodidactic. We are here for our first together podcast for 2023. I am sitting down, Campbell, because it's so friggin' hot where I am right now, and it's so humid that I can't even be bothered to stand up, which is really a first for me, right? When do I not stand up when we do these podcasts?
Yes. All right.
I'm hot.
You do look a little bit warm.
Yep, it's hot. I'm outside. Yep. How are you, buddy? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm good. Just getting back into the groove. I think we all went through a bit of a slump. Energy got a bit low and goopy, but I'm good. I just need to get my stuff organized and get it over your way, right?
Yeah,
Get
man.
my
Yeah.
little tent.
Yep. We're putting him into nature. He's moving off grid, literally.
Yeah. Yep. Literally getting
So
out of the city.
So, buddy, we've got a bit of a 5-second delay between us today. So, just to take that into account as we're talking, Campbell and I are usually pretty graceful about our Perth, New South Wales delay, but I can tell we've got one starting today. So, a 5-second delay starting our first 2023 Tartaria Australia podcast together. I don't know. What does it mean, Campbell? What does that mean?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Is the Matrix trying to hold us back and delay us? God, Matrix. Maybe it's just trying to speed me up to get over there because when I'm over there, we will have no delay.
No delay. No.
Got to look at the positive.
So,
Not
buddy,
the
all right.
Matrix. It's us.
It's up. That's right. Hey, so look, I've got to confess straight up to the audience that the last couple of since we started on the elf dwarf topic late last year and went through this well, Campbell and I and our friend Cassie, we went through a really amazing deep dive on the topic. I don't think we actually ended up doing a deep dive summary last year before we ended the year
No,
at Campbell.
no.
So we probably haven't even expressed how far we went down that rabbit hole to our audience. I know we talked to Jay Dreamer the other day, but ultimately we got to a point where we were just like, wow, all of the agenda and beyond, elves and dwarves. Our whole history, elves and dwarves, Tartarians, elves, every supervillain, god being, creator god, source figure, mythical character, cosmic character, Palladians, a galactic character, elves, like reptilians, dark characters, vampires, villains, all of the characters, Satan, dwarfs, like, and then we got to this point where I was just like, you know what it did to me? It actually made me go flatline. I flatlined, Campbell. I entered the void.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's been mentioned a lot. There's these a lot of these rabbit holes aren't necessarily, fulfilling. Information is not necessary. Sometimes they can, like make you just think, what the hell? I don't have any power here. So we've definitely got to, watch how we look at the world and all this information and what we're taking in, where we're putting our focus, because I think, that's the reality of where we are, right? That if we want to look at it bad, they're going to give us as much information on that as we want, right? And as much markers to say, yeah, you're right. But then we've got to understand that might just be the matrix, right? And can't get stuck down those holes, man. The spiral down, got to spiral up.
That's right. I mean, it's like it was weird because obviously I acknowledge and know that we live in a multi-dimensional, infinite in all directions, infinite possibilities in all directions, space and time. And yet when we came across the elf and dwarf topic, I was like, wow, that's it. Like that's like that's the container we live in, we're like
Yeah.
victims to a magical dark light war of magic that's going on. We're playing out as the conscious creators, bring it into manifestation. Like we have no chance. Like learning if the earth is flat or round compared to that is nothing. Like to me, like learning about the shape of this realm compared to understanding it's all been elves and dwarves the whole time, honestly they're not comparable. And I flatlined just like I did when I started looking at the shape, just because I felt really pissed off with the fact that we are so ignorant that we simply know nothing And that just got me pissed off. And then I went through this tangent. I'm only telling you guys this because I don't know if anyone else like has been through this, but I have come out the other end. Otherwise, I wouldn't be speaking about it because what a drag, right? But like, I was just feeling like everything about this realm is fucking dumb and annoying. That's just, I lost my license because I didn't vote. Like, that's just fucking annoying. How do we live in a thing called a non-elective democracy? If that's not the most oxymoronic statement I've ever heard, a non-elective democracy, people. That's Australia's government system. Did you know that? Did you know that if you don't vote, even if it's in the stupidest little quiet Hickstown regional council elections, your car license will be suspended if you don't pay the fine. And I'm not talking about getting the fine, dragging it through a year to like $8,000. I'm talking like if you don't pay the fine after like 3 times they've asked, at like the $100 mark, your license is automatically suspended. And I could not find one fucking law in the RTA to like justify. How is that even justifiable? How is that justifiable? And it
Not,
just meant
it's not. And there's actually laws that say that they can't do it. It says that no fines or whatever the other word is can be increased. So they can't give you a fine and then say, and on top of that, you lose your license. It's in legally, all they can do is give you a fine, and which means they can't even say you didn't pay it, so now it's 200. That's all illegal too. But
it's all illegal.
but what does that mean, right?
That's why it's so
yeah,
annoying and
like we're
dumb.
still kind of bound to it in some bit, yeah. Dumb.
It's just, and this is one example of a million examples that I'm just like, because my attention's on how fucking annoying and dumb it all is. Like, I am seeing so many things that are annoying and dumb everywhere I turn, right down to, a camera taking a picture of my friend in a car in a deserted town at 2 o'clock in the morning at the traffic lights, looking at a phone to get the directions of where she was going in the middle of nowhere. She gets a $1,000 fine. Like, what? And like this sort of stuff, it's all designed to get you
That's
to a point of, for our
that's your RAS.
community. Huh?
That's your RAS, your reticular activating system.
Yeah.
Whatever we focus on, our RAS shows it. So
A
if we
Raz.
go, the world's annoying, it focuses on the annoying bits of the world.
All right, so good. So heads up, audience. Don't do what I just did and spend the last 5 weeks focusing on how annoying and dumb this realm is, because honestly, you will be overwhelmed by how many examples come to your experience of annoying and dumb things. Like, you will be so convinced of the annoying and dumbness of this realm that you will feel nothing good. So like, save yourself all the time and just don't do it, because the way that I had to have some major realizations, Campbell, because I felt like I'd gone to the void. I felt like I had nothing. I wasn't negative or positive. I didn't want to help anyone, save anyone, fix anything, do anything. I didn't have anything to say. I was literally like, I got nothing in me. And it was like, and it made me really funny and grumpy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we all hit that spot. But that's the thing is, and if you hit there, like, I think, don't ignore it. Just acknowledge that, yeah, it's dumb and stupid, but don't stay there. Then like go, okay, well, hey, what can I focus on that's not dumb or stupid, I guess. But I mean, like Kel did, not to go into details, but she went out and
Don't
got
do
some information and started making some actual changes and doing some different things.
it.
And
Yeah,
that's
well,
what ultimately changed her attitude. Like, if you sit around and don't do anything about it, go, but it's dumb. Well, it just gets dumber, right? Dumb and dumber.
mate, there's so many examples that you'll be literally, because we live in a realm that is literally founded on those two words. There's so many examples, so you just get slapped in the face by them like all day, every day. So to save yourself from that sort of like an annoying and dumb reality, like, you got to stop thinking about it. So I had to make some realizations though, Campbell, and I just want to summarize it, because some of them were really, like, I felt for me they were really wise. So I had a wonderful my co-pilot in Carbonate and the Regen Ag stuff was here with her sister, and she pulled an oracle card out for me. Well, I was like, it's fucking going off, I'm annoying and dumb, grump, grump, grump. And basically what it said to me was so wise, and I had a realization. And this is something I want to bring to the table for you and the audience. First half of this podcast. I realized that two things are happening around Tartaria land, so around the work that we do here online and our research, and the internet in general, and how we're relating to it. So bear with me while I chuck this thought at you, because I've had a lot of time to think, Cambell, my way out of this grumpy moment. So, okay. I realized the other day that one thing's happening really strongly online. And we saw the first bit of evidence I saw about it was when Mind released that amazing AI created artwork and went through like that whole journey with the history of everything into right through to Tartaria. And I blew my mind that it was AI. It blew my mind, and I was probably behind the time in really having a look at this because I'm not doing that. It's not my focus. But and since then I just keep getting more and more examples and more clips of people discussing the finer points of this stuff. And I think we're at a point now, and it's really pertinent to Tartaria and our research, where AI has caught up with history. As in right now, you honestly, you don't know what photos are real or not. I mean, way past what we like a couple of years ago, you could analyze it and you could tell if it was Photoshop or not. But now the AI art process is able to replicate and change and create images that to us would look like fucking perfect old photographs of Tartaria and the things that we're looking at, right? And I just don't. And so I realized that it's caught up to us. I watch the Facebook page and I watch everyone posting things, and I would say half the content now is questionable, and not to the fault of the observer at all. Like, this has gone beyond our conscious ability to distinguish it, is what I'm saying. And we have to really try hard to distinguish it. It's caught up to us. And that led me to a new thought. Any thoughts you'd like to say on that before I continue?
Yeah, I mean, I've been questioning the photos for a long time and just the dates on them, because we don't know, and this is the other thing is that, we don't know where half these photos come from. And now we don't know if they're real, because all this, chat GTP and all these AI art stuff, that's all what, even the AI art, maybe 6 months, maybe. I mean, I'm sure, tech heads had it a year ago, but not that long.
Yeah.
And it's progressing pretty quick. There was actually someone put up it was AI, put it up on Twitter, and it was like, for girls in bikinis, and all the guys were like, and then sort of 6 hours later, they went, it's all AI. Those people don't exist. And no one thought it was AI. Everyone thought it was real. So we're at that point.
We're at that point.
And we have questions. We've been questioning, who are these people walking around, yelling at us to do things. There's all these weird stuff going on. So we're in a world, yeah, exactly. And I think it's kind of, we're at that point, aren't we? It's like, does it really matter? How much more can we go past? And there's so much questions, and there's so much, all this stuff, cover-ups and that. Is it better to just maybe just move forward, right, and build what we want to build? Like what's the end game here, I guess, because that's the system, right? And ultimately, if we're getting all the info in the system, we're kind of, staying in the system. Well, I don't know. It's a big one, isn't it?
It's interesting because we can't really even say in realness if once the internet was released, if anything was real. If anything we've seen through the internet is real. And it's just been filled up with our own content from our own social feeds that we've just put up there. We've hand delivered to this matrix, but to the actual like internet. And if we're looking at history and what is history and how to find this information, it's feeling like, wow, like we have no real way of determining now that we can see what it's capable of, and they're always 100 years. Well, I've always been taught they're 100 years ahead of us in tech, at least on this realm. And that was probably, now that we know what we know, it's, it's more like 1,000 years behind us, ahead of us. And like the internet and what they're capable of doing now, they have probably always been capable of doing. Hello, they erased history from history. And, have always
Yeah.
been able to create these images and these photographs, and they're just sort of slowly releasing it to sort of like provide a conscious pathway for us. But like, anyway, that whole
Always
thing,
been there.
because
Yeah, exactly.
I had to ask Campbell, like I was
Mm.
really with Mind Unveiled's video about the Cabbage Patch. When that broke, I had to like really think about it. Like I had to really, like, it was such a perfect, fucking weird, perfect sync up with where all of our thoughts are going. Like, of course, we would all think, yes, of course, there's proof of the Cabbage Patch dolls and babies, and this is an answer to the question we've been asking about how did they repopulate? Where did all the babies come from? Like, was that information uncovered, or was it like presented? And like, this is no
Presented exactly.
this is absolutely no
Yeah.
commentary on the work of amazing creators out there. I have great honor for all creators. Like, I'm not debunking their work. I'm just saying in general, like, how easy is it to create a solution to a question as a whole community we've been asking in the most colorful way, and yet up until this moment it's never been known before. Like, it's
Yeah.
never been, that information's never been found. It's
It's
never been seen.
look what's happening with music. All this info's come out recently, and it's most people, at least who watch our kind of content, understand that all the music is fake. Like to the point we're back to the 60s. Laurel Canyon, they're all military kids. They were all, none of these bands wrote the Beatles. They
Yeah.
didn't write most of their songs. Paul
Yeah.
McCartney, he's not even the original dude. Like, so, and that's music, so that was clearly an industry that was created to take up. I mean, look, if you look at if you look at people pre 1960 and then like after, you can see how fast music changed, like
And the
the
people
culture,
changed.
right?
And the
Um,
people.
and the people changed. Yep, exactly. And that's what it was to do, right? Like
Mm.
the first music was so different to the parents' music that it was meant to make parents uncool, right? So now it's to create this young person culture who don't get taught by their elders anymore. And that way they're controllable, right? By the music, and then TV, movies, internet. So
Yeah.
we're not saying that the information and stuff is bad or anything, or that it's wrong, but we've really got to question everything. And isn't that what we say all the time, right? Question everything.
Well,
And we can tend to get caught up in stories, right? So because ultimately what we found out is all this Tartaria stuff. It's like, where was it? Everyone's like, where did it all come from? And that's a good question. Where did it all come from? And we found apparently Vladimir Putin released it. So we have to question why is that part of some plan? Are we? So I think the biggest thing is we need to, if we want to build a new world, this 5D, whatever you want to call it, new Tartarian, whatever. We can't do it based on the old world, can we?
well, Campbell,
Maybe
Campbell.
this is here. Maybe this is like to show us to, yeah, even that stuff's pulling us back.
Yeah. I can see that I'm like moving at a really weird pace. I'm in the delayed movements on Zoom. Am I delayed for you?
No, well, your speech is fine.
Okay, good. All
Yeah,
right.
your sort
I'll
of
just
movement's a little bit
Yeah.
slow.
Okay. So here's the thing that I wanted to say about all that. Like, we can't, for sure it's been shown to us either way now. We don't know what's real or not, but it's been shown to us that AI is absolutely capable through these programs of making amazing content. I watched this clip by Jordan Peterson, and he was talking about this AI they've introduced into the to the universities. Basically, you could ask it any complex, seriously complex question, and to write an essay on it, and it'll spit it out in 3 seconds. Then you can ask it to like grade the essay, and it'll split out its grade and a total analysis of the essay. And it's like basically would replace student and teacher, which, whatever. I'm not like, don't stand for the universities, but point is that the AI is here, and and the imagery stuff is here. And now, I go onto Facebook and everyone's creating these bizarre avatar versions of themselves through these apps. And it's just so sophisticated and advanced now that from here on in, unless you're taking the photograph with your own eyes, Oh, you've stumbled across an
Yeah.
actual physical I don't even know if we can trust that, but like, the question is now, how from
Yeah.
here on in does anyone looking at our questions of history or reality be able to source it online? So here was my solution
Mm.
to this.
Ooh, we've got
And
one.
this is what I realized. We and our whole audience, or I can't speak for everyone, but I think a vast majority of our audience and creators around us have forgotten to do one really important thing.
Boots on the ground.
Cliffhanger, no, ready? So, really important thing. So, when my friend drew this card for
What's
me,
that?
the Oracle card, and it came
Yes.
out,
Back to the
and the
card.
card,
Ah.
yes, back to the card, and the card said, You are supported by the unknown. And it dawned on me that through this whole analysis of history and debunking history, as we've done, we've had to put our eyes through like that process of hyper analysis. So we're hyper tearing things apart and we're hyper like and analyzing things. And in doing that, we flip from the other side of our brain, right? That actually remembers that we are totally supported by an unknown force, God, source, whatever you want to call it, and or just the spark of reality, the magic that creates reality through us. Like we are endowed with that. So we have forgotten to remember that we are able and capable of, Cambell, of not just hyper analyzing information, but then sitting down and connecting our consciousness with the very things that we're discovering. And through that connection
Mm.
of consciousness, we will find information that can't be fucked with via AI. So once we saw that mountains were giant trees, once we saw that fact, that simple fact, we should have then, if we were wise spiritual beings, sat down, connected with the consciousness of that fucking big old tree trunk and let it talk to us. And we have forgotten to do this along the whole way. We haven't sat
Mm.
there and thrown our consciousness to the buildings that we're looking at and introduced ourselves and asked if it wanted to say anything to us, if it wanted to tell us the story. We haven't sat down and like faced the elves and said, great, now we are aware of you. Now we acknowledge your existence. Now we have our focus on you. What would you like to say to us? What would you like to speak? What wisdom and teachings do you offer us through our direct source of communication with you? Because we have been gifted, our consciousness has put our eyes on these things. And because we have put our eyes on these things and we start perceiving them, then we have access to everything they are and everything they know. But we only can access that when we step out of our hyper analyzing brain and into our intuitive brain and sit there in direct exactly what JC does when she talks to the trees. She goes there, she sits in
Yes.
meditation, she talks to the trees, and they tell her amazing things. And yet we, as an amazing truth community, have not put any attention, at least you and I've never talked about it, about sitting there and actually, like, if we want to know the story of the elves, then we now, with our presence and focus on them, our
We should
consciousness
ask.
entwining with them, we need to ask, to talk to them in
I agree.
meditation.
Yeah.
And then I thought,
Yeah.
oh my God, star forts, buildings,
Yeah.
friggin' even the Cabbage Patch Babies. If you guys want more information on the Cabbage Patch Babies, if they were really, really there, that was really I mean, it fits so perfectly. I mean, it's a perfect answer. Like, if you want to know more, put your
Yep.
consciousness on it and talk to them. If you want to know about the trees or what they knew, if you want to know about Tartaria, go and talk to these relics that we see, or go and ask the elves.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. We forgot about the magic part. You know, I often say, you know, that the news is the lie, right? And the fairy tales are the truth. Well, are we living like fairy tales? You know, because even going into this, and we talk about that, a lot of people still want to reference books and that, but we know what books are, right? We know who, we can't trust any of it. So what we need to do is trust ourselves, and trust ourselves enough to know that we are connected, and that the answers we get are valid. Because
Yes.
this is, again, we've talked about this before. This is the biggest thing they do to us, right? They take away our imagination and our connection to, the ether, I guess, to other worlds, to other forms
Yes.
of connection. And they tell us, no, 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 it's just a square box and a teacher and everything's physical. Shut up and do what you're told, or stand in the corner. So I think, yeah, we talk about this a lot, but are we doing it?
Fuck no. I
So that's
was
a
not
very
doing
good
this.
point.
I have not been doing this.
No,
I have been researching.
no, neither.
I have been deep diving. I have
Yeah,
been
exactly.
analyzing.
Yeah.
I've been intellectualizing.
Mm,
I've been trying to make understand how this is playing out intellectually. I haven't then been following that up with
mm,
my consciousness. Like, I mean, if any question that we have from here on in, like really, Campbell, we shouldn't even come on a podcast until we've sat there in meditation and actually put our consciousness on the thing we're asking for information on and see what we get. Like, have you ever sat there and meditated your whole consciousness on a star fort?
no,
No.
no. That's the thing, right?
Do you
So
think?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
Campbell,
very,
your information that you're going to get putting your consciousness on a star for a few meditation sessions will probably be fucking
mm,
profound. And it won't be anything that you're going to find
mm,
online. You'll probably have information that it's not online because it's not part of the matrix. It's actually talking to the direct consciousness of that living, breathing, energetic form. And like, because you are so
mm.
knowledgeable on
The
star
real
forts,
Ethernet.
you're probably one of the world's experts on star forts by now, I would say. I think you'd win Sale of the Century if you were going to do it on star forts. I think you'd be a very strong candidate. Wheel of
And
Fortune.
so the cheap.
So from your
Yeah, I
consciousness,
mean,
Campbell, you would come up with an extraordinary conversation. You've learned enough to be able to meet that energy on principle, like in full form.
mm, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've been going on about, the question is the quest, right? And asking questions and asking questions. And I guess what we need to think about is who are we asking, or what are we asking, where are we getting the answers from? Because, yeah, we've been getting them all from the system, like we just have, right? I mean, and that's, this is not saying it's bad or good or anything, because that's where we are, right? That's what we were taught. That was our reference for information, but we've now proven that it's all crap, right? Everything they put out can just be proven as false, and we've got all the questions now. So with better questions, maybe we need a better source of information, right? Ask a better
Well,
source,
I
and
mean,
what better source than
exactly.
source itself?
Yes,
Yeah.
Campbell. That's ask a better source. Fucking exactly.
Mm.
That's what this show is going to be called. Ask a better source. Like, because
Ask a
what
better
I'm
source.
in 2023, what I'm acknowledging straight up with where our podcast is going to go, is that I have acknowledged that the AI is caught up to history. The AI is caught up to history. You will not be able to tell from here on in what's real or what's not. Just almost forget it. Like, actually, if we're going to take this to the next level as sovereign beings ascending through this work, then we have to take it to the source between us and the very thing we want to understand or get more information. We're going to have to start talking. We have to start talking to the consciousness,
Yeah.
talking to the energy form, not talking to the matrix, not talking to the AI, not talking to the fucking internet.
No.
Yeah, that's
Cut
like
out
a
the middle
revelation. It's so
man.
simple.
It is, and it's so simple, right? So it must be the truth, because literally it's a middleman, right? It's like there's a star for it, and we could sit down and meditate and connect with it and ask it, but no, we go and we get the middleman who's come here and written these books on it and tells you
Yep.
exactly what it is, and then we go off that. So let's cut the middleman out, right? Just go straight to source.
I mean, look,
It's very, very profound, but it's one of those things. It's like, how did I miss that?
yeah, I mean, I just think it's maybe a natural part of this journey. Like, You can't get here without
Yeah,
analyzing.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
you have, because I mean, to me, that is what we've all done is the deprogramming. That's what it is. Like what we've come out of that with, as in how we define what now is our belief structure, what now is our reality, that's individual and up to the individual. And there's no right or wrong there. But like we've all been in a state of deprogramming ourselves. And the last great bastion of that deprogramming was history, right? That's the last big bastion. We like deprogram history. So once like all of this work has been analytical, you have to deprogram the mind. But now we're at a point where like that deprogramming, I believe, has been done, because otherwise I wouldn't be so like annoyed at how dumb our reality is,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like the
Yeah.
gauge.
Yeah. You know, yeah, I think we've all been kind of feeling, like I mentioned before, a bit of a slump, right? A bit of low energy. And it's because, yeah, like I think it's whatever, right? Energy, ourselves, the universe telling us that we've sort of learned and got the knowledge of what we're
Yeah.
supposed to get from this. And now it's maybe time to take the next step, right? I mean, we can't,
Well,
just
I
keep
don't
looking
even
at
think we have a
photos of
choice.
buildings forever.
I don't think we have a choice, Campbell. I
Mm.
think there's nothing that the internet now is not a place where you can get information. I mean, you can, but like you on the
Well,
level that we work with, you
I did
can't just figure it out if it's real or not. It's no guide anymore.
and Google is there's hardly they must be like just ripping all the information out. I did a search for, and it was a photo search for, what was it for? Oh, Gargoyle Cathedral. I got 7 pictures.
Oh,
That was it. When I
really
put in
well.
Gargoyle
That's
Cathedral under
funny.
a Google image search, I got
Wow.
7 pictures, and I was just like,
Wow.
"What?
Wow.
What is going on there?" So
All
I
right.
mean, and we know, right? The internet is just owned and bought. We own that. We can own, and it's actually not it's not really an internet. It's pretty much like a big kind of intranet, if you want. It is an internet because, blah blah blah. But basically, we can't find out whatever we want on it. Only the information that they want us to know. We've seen this over what's happening in the last couple of years, right? With all the suppression of information. There's only on there what we want to see. So if you think of it that way, what real use
Yeah.
is it to us going forward?
Well, it's not.
Lots of use if we want to talk about what's going on now and sort of solidifying that. But as far as going forward and going to somewhere new and creating something different, yeah, what answers can it possibly hold,
Well, Campbell,
especially
imagine
at this
this.
point?
Imagine this. If you apply that same technology that creates the images, once you put in some keywords there, and creates these amazing images, like imagine if the internet's always worked like that. Imagine if once it was hijacked with enough black goo, let's making this up now. Imagine if once it was hijacked with enough black goo, then that black goo is the technology that is behind this AI that can take a few keywords and create an extraordinary artwork that looks completely beautiful and authentic and organic. Like imagine
Mm.
if as people started asking questions or typing in keywords into Google, that technology was in operation. So then, as those questions started to seek through the algorithms, and those images started to appear, those videos started to appear, those references, those old maps started, all this stuff started to appear because the technology was creating it in the image of
Was
what we were
generating it.
asking and questioning. Like this could have been going on,
So,
like the way that
but,
Tartaria has exploded
mm,
and all the content and information. And we've always thought to ourselves, well, it's because no one actually knew. They didn't ask those questions. They weren't looking for the information. The information's already always been there. But imagine if it hasn't. And because we do live in a simulation, that information has been created as we have fucking created the questions.
mm. That's a good point, because I mean we say it often. How come all this stuff suddenly appeared when we started looking into it? And this is, yeah, we have all these, the maps. I'm always on about the maps because they're always a little bit different. Islands appear and disappear. Is that because it's AI, right? We see the images
Yep.
that you get off them. They're
Yep.
all a little bit different.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that's
Yep.
and even if that's just a possibility, it's like how can we trust it? I mean, like I said, we know it's all controlled and it's owned, and they're only feeding us stuff that that they want us to know, and that's it. So, um, and the other thing I was thinking of before is when you were talking about the AI, and especially if it's doing that, is it might look at if you sort of extrapolate that out to the ultimate, AI, what's it going to be, right? Like one, I mean, it'll be Brave New World, right? Everyone will be stupid, right? Because they
Well,
won't
in
need
comparison,
to go and study and understand things. They'll just ask Siri, right? It'll be Siri, and they're already
yeah.
getting used to it, right? With Siri and all this stuff. And so it'll be literally AI will give you the answer to everything, and you just end up with these dumb slave people that are completely controlled. I mean, that's really, have we ever seen anything like this? I mean, look at TV. They could have used that to educate the world, right? And what do they use it for? To sell crap and, debauchery and make people waste their lives. So do we really think that they're going to use AI to make the world better for us? I mean, it's for them. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
it's just a big slave machine, and it's the more we get involved with it, the more we get involved with it, right? You
and I mean,
know,
and think about it, like,
it's now it's. You go.
yeah, no, well, I was just gonna say, like, remember all the pictures that everyone was like, all these pictures of empty cities, like, who took the photo? I remember. So that's the first question: who took the photo? Someone was there, and we sort of like, there were
Took a
pictures of empty
photo.
cities. How
Yeah.
easy would that be for an AI tech to create? Like pictures of the cities empty, like straight away. How easy it is to create that. Like, all we can really, the thing that underpins this Tartarian hunt is that we can actually go and see these buildings. We've all seen the actual buildings. We've actually been to the buildings ourselves and seen it ourselves. And we've marveled at the architecture, and we know that something in that realm was absolutely like deleted from history. But as far as all the other unfolding of the proof, the more information, the evidence, the photos, the blah, like, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong here to think that I'm saying this means it's all fake. Because what I'm proposing is that potentially this is reality. That as this is the leading edge consciousness, that as we ask the questions, the AI is going to deliver a response and an answer that will appear organic. As we ask the questions in the broader realm in our actual lives, the power of what we are will bring it forward into our manifestation. Like, is the AI? It's just a false version of that same ability, and it's quick and it takes 3 seconds and it looks completely real and organic, and it may not be false just because it's the AI behind it. It may just be us behind it all. um I'm not debunking any of our information right now, because I have this sneaky weird feeling that internet is actually the wiring and firing of our consciousness, and I don't believe it's inorganic to us in its inorganic nature, which is like a total paradox. The internet to me is a paradox of what we are. We see it as outside of ourselves. And yet, when we're on there, we
Yeah.
assume
Yeah.
that everything that's in that internet has been created by a human being. We
Mm.
assume that the amazing, and also then it presents beautiful artwork, amazing um books and information and photographs, and we assume someone human is behind that. It's a natural,
Yeah.
easy
Yeah.
way of thinking. That's how we
It's
distinguish this realm.
yeah. Yeah. An article came out. I think it was from Cambridge actually, or like a university, saying that people are using this chat GTP or whatever it is to write their assignments and their schoolwork basically. And they don't know, they can't tell if it's true or not. I mean, how do you do that? So we get all it's all, how long could this have been going on? It could all be fake, and it's the black scrying mirrors, isn't it? We're all looking at a screen, and we know what that's sort of, aligned with. Is it just a way to program us more, right? And this is the thing, it's problem reaction solution, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone starts asking questions about reality and stuff back in the 90s with the start of the sort of, spiritual and wherever that came from, whatever. Yeah, so they give us the internet. Oh, look, you can ask whatever you want.
Yep.
And we're like, yeah, man, awesome.
Yep.
But
Yep.
little do we realize that it's just the same as everything else, right? It's just a book that looks better. It's filled with their answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, well, I mean, from our whole understanding of who we are,
So see you
every
guys.
single
That's
every
it.
single one of
We're
us in
leaving.
this lifetime, Campbell, every single one of us in this lifetime, like our whole understanding of information and knowledge has come from um written word, the written word in whatever form,
Scripts.
and then the internet, and then radio,
Yep.
newspaper, and the internet, TV and the internet. That's been our whole
Yeah.
like amount of
They just keep,
input.
yeah. Yep. They just keep putting more bells and whistles on it.
Yeah.
Started off with printed books, then it became, went into newspapers, which are a bit more, shorter version, then sensationalistic magazines, then movies, TV, music, internet. And it's
Yeah.
just everything's just got a few more lights and bells on it. So we think it's new and better and different, but it's just the, putting lipstick on a, what is it? Putting lipstick on a pig, is that what they say? It's
Hmm.
just dressing it up, right? But
So,
ultimately, it's all coming from the same source, which is not the true source.
and soon it'll introduce the multiverse. Soon your internet will give you the multiverse, and you will have access way beyond
Exactly.
a human's intellectual capabilities to do. Well, we'll think it's way beyond our
Elon.
intellectual abilities, but
Yeah, yeah.
in reality, in reality, like in actual reality, like in this reality around me right now, you can see my glasses. It's my actual reality. Like I I have a direct source connection to whatever my beautiful mind, my beautiful intellect and heart desire wants to actually experience. So here I get to the next part of this equation. Because what else do we forget when we're on this sort of journey? When we're actually like in a total state of deep diving analysis research, right? We forget to actually define the actual experiences we want to be having with this work. Like, what are our actual experience that
Yes.
we want to be experiencing and achieving through the amount of energy and focus and time that we are putting into understanding these things? Like, what is the direct experience I wish to be having?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then,
We
sorry, go
forgot
on.
the
Yep.
solution part. We forgot the solution. We're just doing problem reaction.
Well, Campbell, like one of
Right.
my direct experiences that I personally want to have is these live events. I fucking love them. It blows my mind to see a full house and actually just the energy of humans wiring and firing on together in these containers. Like there's nothing you can experience outside of that. Like you have to be present in that experience to actually have that experience. Like you can't fake it, you can't buy it, you can't sell it, you can't get it off the internet. It's actually something you have to come to experience, right?
Real.
It's real.
You can
But I
touch it.
have defined, Campbell, I've defined an experience that I want to be having. I've also defined an experience that I want to be in direct communication with the very things I'm interested in understanding further, and then coming to this podcast with information from that source. That's a defining an experience,
Yes.
as opposed to just
Mm.
getting up and getting onto the internet.
Yeah. 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 I mean, and we've kind of been running that way. Like we know all of our podcasts, like literally, 90% of them is Kelly having an idea and then just springing it on me, during the podcast. So none of this is scripted. So it's all, so, a lot of the time it is us, drawing on information rather than
Yes.
sort of remembering. But yeah, this is the thing. We're not really focusing on it. We're not sort of, we don't have any intention to it. And it's so true. Like, I've done all this history research and, hundreds and hundreds of videos and everything, but what's my intention? Where do I want that to lead me? Do I just
Yes.
want people to understand that it's, crap? I definitely want people to ask better questions. But again, what does that lead to, right? Where are we going
Yes.
with
Yes.
all this stuff is what we haven't sat down and pinpointed and focused on. And as we know, energy goes where attention, what is it? Energy flows where attention goes. So if we're just focused on the research, then the energy is just going to the research. But if the research is a means else, that's a completely different story.
So Campbell, I mean, that's exactly right. The thing that I love about our actual podcast together is most of the time we're just freestyling through an idea live on the spot. Like we very rarely do we actually pull off a show where we've like go through like a a deep dive on something. You and I we're into this freestyling our thoughts. So I love that because it is our consciousness coming through, and they're alive and they're real on that level. But yeah, like defining, and it's a personal thing. Like this is personal. Every single one of everyone out there listening to this has a personal experience that they wish to be achieving through all of the energy and focus they're putting into this realm. Like, what do you want out of the end of this? Like maybe Campbell's his actual heart desire through this, maybe one of his true desires is to actually author a book. Maybe that's a true desire he has, that like if he like actually defines what he wishes to experience, then he would actually start to define what it is about all this stuff that is actually turning him on the most. I know for me, it's definitely the live events. They are my thing. They turn me on the most. I want 100,000 of us, man, in a stadium. I see that vision every night. I
Man,
want that. I want to experience because I'm hungry to experience the energy there. I'm hungry to experience that unique thing that is a once in a lifetime, and it can't be experienced any other way, that's it. That's what I love the most. And you, buddy, what is it that your heart, of all of this time you've done all of this work, what is it what's the turn on?
God, put me on the spot.
Yeah,
Jeez. Um,
I like doing
I mean,
that.
yeah, I think I'm just moving away from the system, which is probably not good enough because it's moving away from something, right? I mean, ultimately, I'm kind of, we're pretty similar. We're both community, minded. We see that, community is strength, and so I've always been into building out communities and bringing in different ways to think and different, technologies and all this kind of stuff. Is really what drives me. But that's the thing, like as my last 4 years of work, well, kind of has like some, but it wasn't, my intention wasn't there. I've still, obviously ended up, must have been your intention because you contacted me and you said ultimately, I'm going to be getting out into a community because of you. So, but yeah, that wasn't my focus. And if I was focusing on that, when it could have happened a lot more, we could have achieved. So yeah, I would say that, it's like you were talking about before, the subconscious. That's always been my driving force. So I think that's always been pushing me, which is where why I've come here. But, clearly I'm 50. If my intention was to do this, if it was stronger, I could have been on the land for 30 years. This is the thing. We do all this work without intention. So yeah, my intention is communities. Yeah, the live events, getting people together, talking, and ultimately, this is what we,
So
it's a
let me
bit of
ask
a
you a question.
conundrum. We all want, yes.
So Campbell, like,
Go
what is
ahead.
it you want to experience about community? Like, what is it you want to
Yeah.
experience? Tell me what you actually want to experience. Like, why is community important to you?
Um, Lifestyle, I guess. The support so that we can all live lives like we want to, and not have to worry about lack and not have to worry about this perceived crime and all this, and have unity and where we all sort of come together and just that life. We all want that life where we're not having to pay to live on the land, where when you have problems there's people always willing to help, where you have your festivals once a week and you big get together and eat and dance and sing and have campfires and all this kind of stuff, and work, jobs don't exist. That's
So,
ultimately what I'm working towards
so
is
what is
the
it about?
community. Yeah.
What is it about that experience? Like, if you imagine that
God.
you're living in that community and you're
Hmm.
experiencing that, like, what is it like? And don't overthink it. Just like, what is it about
Mental
that
rest.
experience that turns you on so much? Because you could define any experience, any type of community. Like, what is it about that sort of
Hmm.
lifestyle?
Yeah. I just like being in nature, and I like pottering around, and I like good conversation. It's oh God, Kelly, you're putting me on the spot, girl. Um,
Well,
what is it? What is it ultimately? That's a good question, isn't it?
yeah.
What's the essence of what I'm chasing?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
what is it about me that what is the experience I actually want to have of having that many people together wiring and firing on these topics? Like, what is it about that experience that I'm
hmm,
actually after? And I feel, for me personally, I feel like there's a soul calling to be able to communicate en masse whatever flows through me. Like, I feel that there's some power in my being and my heart and my soul and my intellect that will be a vessel for an extraordinary moment in time. And I feel like I can facilitate that experience and expression, and it be of mass service and support to everyone who's there.
hmm,
And like, there's something soul in me about
hmm,
that. So like, and
yeah.
community, yes, definitely community. And I think, brother, I think one of your soul desires is to do with returning to a state of ease, harmony, and freedom. Like, there's something in you that, like, when you were born, you were crying out for that sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll get there. Yeah, yeah, that's totally it. It's and I think we're both we want to change the world, right? And
I don't know.
that's ultimately it, right? And people, oh, you want to change the world? Look, everyone changes the world just by being here. It's like, how are you going to change it? Are you intentionally changing it? And like, yeah, the energy of a big event, and that to do something and to actually see that it made a difference, that it did change people.
Yeah.
That as well, right? Just seeing that well, my efforts are producing things, right? That are actually making things better. I think that's a big one, right? We don't get validation, and we're sort of taught, well, what do you mean you want validation? You can't do that, bloody hell, that's your ego, that's this bullshit. But that's not true. Like, we all need validation. We don't. No one wants. No one's going to go to work and not get their validation at the end of the week, which they call a paycheck. We all deserve it. So I think, yeah, that is. I'd love to sit back around a campfire and
Well,
just watch what had been created. But that would be amazing. That would be one of the best feelings, just to see that.
I mean, ultimately for us, defining the experiences that we all on this tangent want to be having much better this year. Like, we're through the deprogramming. You're through the deprogramming of history. Like, yes, there'll be little tidbits and things here and there, but you're kind of through it now. And now you have to actually define the experience you want to have. Now, one of the ones I absolutely want to have
Hmm.
is, I want our podcast on the topic of these topics we cover of Tartaria and beyond to actually be getting its information from direct communication with the source of what we're focusing on. I want us, that's the experience I want us to have from here on
Yeah, yeah,
in with this work.
yeah. Wow.
So that's defining
Yeah,
an
yeah.
experience. So that's like phase one
Let's do
of
it.
where, yeah, great, excellent. That's phase one of where I was. Phase two of that questioning, Campbell, is whatever you've defined the experience you want to have to be, and you might decide the experience that you really want is actually like outsmart the Matrix. You might just say the experience you really want is like master lucid dreaming or master astral traveling or master magical arts. Or you want to have the experience of meeting a
Mm.
real goddamn elf in person. Like, I that's one of mine on my list. I
Yeah.
want to meet one in
That's
person.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Or you want to have the experience of leaving the realm. Whatever, like, go as magical as you want. There's no like container on that.
Mm,
The second part of the question is, well,
exactly.
what do you need to do to grow towards that experience?
Become the person who deserves the experience. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, which is another thing that they don't want us to look at is becoming something. Like, who do you need to become? They're just like, oh no, just get clothes, make a few TikTok videos. It'll be good. It'll be good. But this, yeah, like back to that, it's this year. It's like, yeah, how much. And we talk, that we all want to, well, at least most of us want to get out of the system. We want to build new communities. We don't want to be under their thumb in that. Well, shopping at shopping centers, paying rates, living in cities, using the internet too much, all this stuff is kind of staying in the matrix, right? I think we need to make some tough decisions, and we're also not, saying that everything on the internet's bad. We're just saying we want to make sure that the information is not secondhand, right? Like that we know where it comes from, right? So, yeah, we're not saying internet bad and you can't watch it and all that, because I've always said we should use their tools against them as much as we can, and I agree with that. But it's what are we putting out, and where's that information leading us? What's the intention behind it, which is what you were saying.
Well, I mean, look, Campbell, like if I want to experience talking to 100,000 Tartarian Australians, autodidacticians and quantum truthers, like if I want to experience that, then what do I need to grow towards that experience through this work? And what I need to do to grow to that experience is go to as many live events as I can and speak. Like I need to speak at these events. I need to build that's the experience I want to have. So that's something that like I need to do to continue growing. If I want to talk to an elf, like if that's an experience I wish to have, and I'm being serious, I want that experience now, then I need to commit time every day, or at least commit time in my schedule to be in a state of meditation directly focused on communicating with an elf. Like if that's an experience I want to have, then I have to grow that into I need to grow there. I need to make the time to do that. So what I'm suggesting as the next phase of all of this unraveling is, as we define the experience we want to be having through these channels that we go through, all this information, then you also have to take the next step of how you're going to grow towards it. And that's totally individual. And I love that. If I want to have the experience of experiencing outside of the realm, if I want to go outside of the realm and see with my own fucking eyes what it really looks like, instead of trusting all these drawings and illustrations, God knows who makes them. I love them all. All the imaginations, but mostly they're like made by AI. Most people, normal people, don't know really how to do that. If I want the experience of actually seeing it with my own eyes, then what do I need to grow towards that experience? Like, and one of those things it definitely is to sit down in that state of, like getting my consciousness down to a level where I'm talking in a way that I can find that information to know how to, there'll be steps that I can do, and it might be
the tuning.
It might be astral dreaming. It might be the lucid dreaming. There's definitely things I can bring into my life with discipline so I can have that experience. That's the challenge I'm setting everyone.
Tuning. Do the tuning, right? Remember Dark City with the tuning? What happened? Ding. Things changed when they tune in. So tune in. And just another point is what you were talking about is, what we want is also so limited and so based on past experience and what people say is real and what's not real and what we can have and what we can't have. If people are setting goals, who would sit down and write, well, I want to see what it's like outside of the dome. I want to meet an elf. I mean, most people, we've been told don't be stupid. So that's another big thing is all that stuff. Understand that's the system keeping us down, telling us that who we really are is not real.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what this AI is, right? It's like, oh yeah, you want, telekinesis or what is it when you talk to each other? Use the internet, right? Put a brain thing, a brain transistor in your head, right? And then you can access the internet, right? Then you'll have magical powers. So it's all the false god, right? It's all they're giving us all this, and so exactly. And so
like it literally says it in the name,
Campbell. Goals.
Like we talk about realms, the outer realms, and AI says virtual realms. Like you'll literally be gifted virtual realms. That's the next stage. You're going to be entering the multi-dimensional virtual realms.
And this is the split that's been talked about, I think, and it's going to be a choice. Do you want to stay in the matrix and get more deeply involved in that? Or do you want to go out there? Because yeah, the biggest thing is just if your future's defined from the matrix, from the path, then what can you create that's different? You know, so I think that's a big part is what do you really want? You know, do you want to ride a unicorn along the beach? You know, don't tell yourself it's stupid.
Lamacon,
Just
and
start
yes,
trying to
I would.
manifest it. A
I would
llama,
love
of course. Yeah.
to ride a Lamacon across the beach. I need to find out
There
what
you
I need to do
go.
to grow towards that experience. I probably need to start by painting it,
You
like
do.
grow towards that experience. And okay, final part of the equation. What experience do you want to have through this work? What do you need to grow towards that experience through this work? And how does it benefit humankind? What are you contributing to humanity, to the organic, beautiful, high vibing, organic, natural entities
Yeah.
that stand here and create reality? Like, what is it you want to be contributing? Now, by the way, I did not get this by myself. This came, and I'll tell you about where these ideas came, as in those 3 words. Because once I started looking at those 3 words, I was like, holy fucking hell, man, this is it. So, Cambell, you've defined who experiences you want to have. You've worked out how you can grow towards it. And what is your highest desire for how it contributes to the realm?
It's to creating abundance and peace and happiness and joy and making people's experience better. Yeah, it is what I hope to do. You know, get people to ask better questions and understand themselves more. And that all comes down to better. You know, so ultimately, yeah, it's all just to create a better space, right? I just want to, yeah, make it better, make it easier, give
But Cambell,
solutions.
Cambell, you got to get more
Um,
specific, brother. Like this, it can't be as general as that.
Hey
Like,
man, this is my first day. You've been going
yeah,
for
okay,
weeks.
that's right. Like, you have to get more specific, as in, and I say that to everyone.
But yeah, that's
I mean, you don't have
is
to.
not. I just always wanted to change the world, right?
All right, he wants to change the world. He
Change the
wants to
world.
change the
Is
world.
that good
So there's a contribution in that for
for the
you
better?
that
For the better, I
matches
better
your
put that
heart
in.
desire. Cambell, there's a heart desire in
Mm.
you that's specific and unique to you that would match a contribution that would change the world. So it's your job to work out what you would love to contribute. I would love to invent something that is used by a lot of people. I would love to contribute an
Oh,
innovation. I don't know what that is,
cool.
but I would love the experience of contributing an innovation that actually is of great service. I would love
Okay.
the contribution of writing, finally finishing, the book that's in my head, and like know that it's
Yes.
it's of great
Book.
service
Yeah,
and
me too. Yeah.
contribution to everyone who reads it. And I would love
Mm.
to know that these live events get to the stadium and they like actually blow a hole through this whole like fucking
Well,
reality, like
yeah.
that's contribution to
Yeah,
me.
man.
So
Everyone living on the streets around the stadium, they'll just get blasted with our energy and they'll all be like, "Whoa, oh my God, it's all a lie."
oh my God, imagine 100,000 people
Wake them
all
up from their
focused
nest.
on joy with all their energy at the highest point of lightheartedness and celebration and asking the questions that we ask and the topics we look at. Imagine what that would do to everything. Like it could change the color of the fucking sky
That,
for all we know.
yeah, I agree. We've all heard the physical noise that comes out of those places when, when they're full and people are watching sports ball and that. Imagine that like but intention, right? And feeling just this explosion of good energy and we
Whoa.
know that energy, affects. We know that when Buddhists go to a town and 100 Buddhists meditate for, a week, it changes everyone's attitude in the town for like a month. So literally, like if we had these in cities, you could change. You could leave the city, and it'd be like we'll do one in Melbourne, right? And it'll be like the next day, like Dan Andrews will just like quit his job, and all everyone will just quit, and yeah, big
Like, but
changes.
I
Let's do
mean,
that.
essentially, like the only time there's ever been a situation where 100,000 plus people who are deprogrammed have come together and modified their consciousness have been at
Right.
protests. You see, and in the protest movement, we're focusing
Protests,
our
yeah.
energy against the thing that we want to see, against what we want to create. But imagine, because it hasn't happened yet anywhere on the globe, where that amount of people with a deprogrammed consciousness comes to a container, a space, and a time node at one time together, in the highest activation celebration. Like, it's just not happened yet. It's not happened. Like, and
Right.
therefore the
No.
impact of that is completely unknown, pure potential. And that
Mm,
is like, I can't even, that to me would be the highest contribution of anything ever that's
yeah,
ever been before now.
that would be. Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, well, we know how powerful this stuff is, right? If it wasn't powerful, then you know those that wish to rule wouldn't be doing them all the time and putting all these idols in front of people and screaming, words at them and stuff and getting the energy out. So we know this stuff works. So yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, man. I mean, and that's one way to change the world. And I think it's moving out of the matrix. It's getting people back to being people, to talking, to sharing our own information, our own perspectives. Um, you know, yeah, I think let's do it, man. Where are we going to do it? Sydney or Melbourne? I don't know.
Fucking
Where do we
Lismore.
rent a stadium for 100,000 people?
Hmm.
Where is it? Let's do it.
It's probably, yeah,
And of course,
who
we're going to be
knows?
on three Lismore soon. Not quite 100,000, but you can come and see some Lismore.
Listen, like, I mean, I know that to me, like, I guess what I wanted to bring to the table today was like this whole 5 weeks I've been through this like void, this space of being annoyed and dumb at everything, and then just falling into this like basically pretty negative perspective, and not negative like negative when we found out that all the human trafficking, that sort of negative, but negative like flatlined. Like there's literally, we know nothing,
Yeah.
we're in
Like
total
what?
ignorance and
Useless. What can I
yeah,
do?
exactly. To
Yeah.
like not wanting to contribute anything. In doing that, I fell away from positive thinking, and in doing that I fell definitely away from gratitude. So that's what I want to like bring out, that like if this is all now down to our direct communication with energy, if it's our direct communication with source energy of whatever form that takes, our consciousness is dictating what we're tuning into to give that energy and get that information, then we have to stay in a state of positive thinking. Like I've done the negative thinking now, and the positive, and like I've actually had to enroll in a few courses to like jig myself, remind myself to bring that back into my life, to basically reset myself, having got to the level where this whole realm is like ludicrous in its frustrating idioticness, that like
Oh, look,
I've
I'm
had
with you, man. I
yeah, I've
quite a
had to
few
remind
times.
myself, Campbell, that actually I need to be positive, because no outcome to me will come in a state of frustration and negativity. I'm not going to achieve an experience I want. I'm not going to grow towards it, and I'm not going to contribute anything. And then when I realized I wasn't in a
Yeah.
state of
Yeah.
contribution because I was in a lack of state of defining desires I had or experiences, I then forgot that I was not alone. And that's the key to me, this whole thing, going back to that oracle cord. I forgot that I am not alone, as in I can tune in and direct my consciousness to trees, to ancestors, to Tartarians, to elves, to all that has ever been and existed. And they all stand beside us right now, cheering us on. And whether you call that Christ, God, love, angels, whatever, like it's all there cheering you on, and you have direct access to it. You're never and not alone. You're never and not alone. Like I forgot that, Campbell, because I felt like this is bullshit.
Mm.
This world has become very 3D to me suddenly. It's like we saw the elves and all the magic went. I can't, like, it's like we saw a
Yeah.
magician, just a magician behind the curtain, because as JC would say, that it's infinite potential and pure possibility, but a magician behind a big motherfucking curtain, and suddenly I didn't feel any magic anymore. And that was me falling into a state
Mm.
of non-positivity and non-gratitude and desire.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've all been through, a lot of crap in the last couple of years. So, I'm sure, most people watching this as well have been through these kind of things and this, low and getting pissed off at the world. And like, again, get pissed off, but get it out of you. Don't stay there. But, this is the thing. Like, I get asked heaps, like, how are you so actually before, I say that is positive thinking. I was thinking we should call that solutions thinking, really, shouldn't we?
Solutions.
Solutions, because that's what we are, right? We're solutions. We find solutions. We're problem solving machines.
Well, yeah, but I would put
What was I
positive
saying?
thinking. I'd put positive thinking for me. It would be like um finding something I desire, acknowledging it,
Positive,
being positive
yeah.
of it, and then being grateful for it. Like it's not just solutions. Like I'm not. If I try to
Mm,
find solutions, I get negative again.
yeah.
I fucking go down the fucking negative path. I'm fucking, but there's no
Fair enough.
solution to this. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gratitude.
Well, you do have to find the positive because what I was going to say, yeah, gratitude maybe is better. Like, because um yeah, we can all get pissed off and it feels good, right? Like you can, yeah, man,
Yeah,
you can really get into being pissed off at the
yeah. I'm
world.
funny when I'm pissed
But
off.
what
Yep.
always gets me and what always stops me is, and not obviously, sometimes I go through it, is where's this going to lead me? And just
Yeah.
look around at the angry people. Like what kind of lives do they have? So we all are susceptible to this stuff. But if we can stop and think, look, if I keep these actions up, where am I going to be in a year? That's a good sort of jolt to get us solutions based. Oh well, I don't want to be there. Where do I want to be? Maybe I need to
Yeah.
change
Well,
some stuff.
actually,
And that's yes.
your solutions come after you access positivity. So solutions are the result of positivity.
Yes, I'll
And
give you that.
I
Yes,
feel
I'll give
like
you
we
that.
sound like 10-year-olds right now. Like we know all this information, like, but why
Or
I'm having to
self-help gurus or
remind
something.
us. I know, but I'm literally having to remind myself. And if I'm having to remind myself at
But
this point in the
but
journey, then I thought it worth
you know
sharing.
what? Yeah, but isn't that what we've all lost? Our inner child? Isn't that what got taken, when we hit school? The education system. Education means the road to the goat, that dude. And that's what they stole, right? And that's why they spend so much time making us think that that's crazy. And if you talk like that, you're the crazy dude. And what are you talking about? Maybe that's exactly what we need to do, right? The opposite. Everything's inverted. We need
Yeah.
to understand that we are magic. We have access to magic. We are supported, and it's like I said before. It's a raz. If we focus on that, then suddenly it becomes real. But if we focus on the matrix as goddess and it's all controllers, then suddenly it becomes real, right?
Yes. And
What's
I
that
look,
saying? If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
and honestly, I don't
Always
think
right.
that you need to have faith in something to be positive. Like, you know, I don't think you need to have found
No,
your conclusion or your
no.
God
I'd say
or your
action. Mm,
to be positive. Like there's
yeah.
like literally a way to
Action
access
builds
positivity
faith,
every
doesn't it?
second. Yeah. I mean, I can stand out here and be really annoyed
Just
and
as, yeah.
annoyed at everything. At the same time, I am capable of going, that's a
Gets
really
better.
nice fucking flower in front of me. I really dig that bloody flower. Like,
Mm.
that's a pretty good flower. Like, I can find some positivity in all directions that I look. I don't have to determine my whole faith structure. I don't have to like have the answers and conclusions so I know exactly what I believe in and like what I stand for. Like, because I don't. I really don't. So but
Mm.
I can acknowledge and appreciate and be in gratitude and find positivity in nature around me and in my environment and my community and like there's always ways to access. It's like just like is it part of the experience I want to have in 2023 is to feel deeply
Mm.
positive about life, and the answer is yes. I want to be positive about all of this. I don't want to fall into being pissed off by it, you
The
know?
trap. It's the trap, man. It's the machine pulling us back. So,
It got me.
hey guys, what is it you want? what do you want to build? What is the intention behind what you're doing at the moment? Is it making you, turning you into the person that you need to be to experience what you want to experience? And if it's not, then you might want to change it, and change, might seem hard, it might seem uncomfortable, but really not changing is much worse. Because being in the same spot in 10 years and still being pissed off is, believe me, much worse than, a couple of months of a bit of discomfort, and then a new life, right? So we're
Oh,
there. I think we're
Campbell.
on, and I think that's what's happened is I think we're right there. We're right on the cusp. And look
Yeah,
at AI is creeping up so fast. It's like,
it's
the time
done.
is now, right? If you want to make a change, like there's got to be now, I think. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying get all your stuff and tie it in the car and drive off. I mean, start thinking different things now. Get solutions. Where are you going? What can you do? Why are you doing? And what, of course, are you grateful for?
I mean, AI is history. You know what I'm saying? And like I wish 10 years ago, 20 years ago when I started all this work, and 20 years ago I had a YouTube. I had a YouTube station when it first began. And I was teaching
Mm,
and talking, and if I had defined what I wanted to experience at that time, if I had been clear about, I am all this energy, I'm just obsessed with being here and going down these rabbit holes. I can't avoid it. It's my heart's desire. But gosh, I would like to also experience writing my own book on this topic, or being a public speaker on this topic, and actually going and speaking to people. If I defined that 20 years ago as the experience I wanted, then I would be living it. It would be done. So what I'm saying
yes,
to everyone out there, in
yes,
each one of you, if it's your desire, there is a book, there is a podcast, there is a blog, there is a desire, an experience you want to have. It's there, it's there, it's there. Maybe it's a blissful marriage with someone who has the same information. Maybe it's, maybe it's a, I don't know, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Like, but define it. I'm gonna roll. Is it
yeah,
again?
yeah.
I never smoke on our podcast, but I do
Oh
smoke,
my
and I'm
God,
now I'm
you're gonna
going to
roll a
have
durry.
one. I'm going to have one, and you know why? Because I think, like, moving forward in 2023, I just want to start getting more and more and more authentic on when we talk. I don't want to have any weird personas, and I have actively never smoked on a podcast. I've just never done it. I just
I
thought it,
know.
I just never did it.
No.
But I do enjoy to have a chat with Campbell and have a smoke at the same time. So I'm fucking going to do it.
There you go. New
Yeah,
years, new intentions. Yeah, man.
I know.
And and to everyone who's out there yelling at the screen at the moment, oh my God, that'll kill you, that'll kill you. It's the same as everything, right? Food, water, all this stuff. If you're smoking every day going, this is killing me, it'll probably kill you. Right? If
Yeah,
you're smoking, oh, that's cool. I feel so much better after that. Then it's probably not going to affect you that much. We all have seen the 100-year-old dude smoking his cigarette,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
it's
plus,
again, it's all intentional. It's like food.
everyone I,
If you get
everyone
a
I know
Macca's
only,
burger,
yeah. Sorry,
bless it and see.
I was going to say,
I was going to say food. If
yeah.
I'll edit this bit, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like I smoke, and everyone I know smokes the organic tobacco. So that's enough for me. I'm so it's organic. Don't worry about it. I was like, so that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that's that makes much more. Everything's energy, right? Everyone's at least that around sort of watch our stuff is everything's energy, everything energy. Oh, but you can't eat that. That's bad for you. Well, what do you mean? It's just energy. Why don't you bless it and make it good energy? I mean, this is the thing. We make things good or bad. We're the creators, and I think that's kind of what we've forgotten. What we've been talking about is we're the creators, but what are we intending to create? Like, because no matter what we do, we're creating something anyway, right? We're doing it anyway.
Yeah,
The energy is flowing out of us anyway, creating something.
yeah,
So we may as well, decide what we want and create things that we enjoy.
yeah, yeah. Yep. And honestly, when I started to look, going back to the Cabbage Patch Babies, and a few people asked me, what's your take on that? What do you think of that? And I'm just like, well, it's like a perfect answer. It's like, it's crazy. It's perfect. We love it. It's imaginative. It's creative. It's inspired. It's an inspired idea. It answers a lot of things. And there's all these crazy images in now movies, and wow, wild. And then I just think, but like, I haven't answered that question because I haven't actually put my consciousness into asking it's my being to connect with that energetic form. Like, so next podcast, I'm going to commit to the audience that I'm going to sit there in meditation for as long as it takes to actually have something to say about what I think about the Cabbage Patch Babies. I would like to know from my own divine intelligence.
Is that the
And
topic? All right.
that's the
Cabbage
topic.
Patch Babies.
I think that's where we've got
Cool.
to with the uncovering of the Tartaria realm right now. Like outside the elf and dwarf conversation, like
Yeah.
the baby
I think,
stuff came through at the end of the year.
Yep. Yep. And I've put out about, gosh, 5 or 6 videos on it in the last 2 weeks on the orphans and that sort of time and what
Yeah.
happened. So my consciousness is there.
Yeah.
And that's really the start, because that's where we are, right? Right, they're trying that history repeats, right? With all these, we've seen all these fake baby womb factory things that are coming out. What are they called? Ecto chambers or something?
Yep.
Growing babies again. So we're back there. So yeah, perfect.
I mean, and hello, is that the next thing that like if we look at the Cabbage Patch Babies and the reset and the orphans, wouldn't then we lend our consciousness to the idea of it happening? It's always been there. We've always assumed that part of the darker side of this agenda has been genetically modifying humans and babies and doing all sorts of horrible, weird shit for ages. Like, it's always been part of our consciousness that exists. But now we've got these two reference points, and one's fantastic, which is obviously the Cabbage Patch Babies, and one is fucking scary and terrifying, which is obviously the AI like agenda. And somewhere in the middle of that is our consciousness wiring and firing with all of it. So fucking hell, man. I want to know organically what my answer is to that. Organic.
Yeah.
That only I can find in my meditation. That's it.
Yep. So there you go. We're going to go on a bit of tangent, and so we'll both meditate, but we'll get some answers. We'll see how similar the answers we got are. And obviously go over a bit of the information as well, and start to really look at all this stuff and compare, the information that we're getting given to from source to the information that we're getting from another source. Let's take the power back, right? Like I said before, like, let's start trusting ourselves again. If we want to, live in the magical, nursery rhyme land, then we have to be magic, right? And if we're going to be magic, well, then we have to be magic, right? We have to believe in all this stuff. We have to believe we can get answers. We have to, all this stuff, we have to believe the answers we get are valid.
I mean,
because if it's all just pie in the sky and kid stuff, then what are we doing? Like, go back to the Matrix.
How can we do a whole deep dive and podcast on elves and dwarfs and forget that we are the magic? We are it. Like, how can we even lend our consciousness to that in all seriousness? And then at the same time, systematically, like, put it as if it's external from us, as if it's out there, something we're uncovering versus something that we are. And it's just like, I know it's a philosophical subtlety, and I know like it goes through, we go on these tangents often through our journey, through our lifetime with this stuff. But like, honestly, everyone, I really believe that we're at a point now with this work and Tartaria that that's the only place we can now move forward in. Like, I just don't think, I mean, I suspect there'll be some other unveilings of information, but I just don't know the validity of any of it now until we see if we can connect with it organically
with a better source. Yeah, let's do it. And obviously everyone else out there, if do it as well. Next week will be Cabbage Patch Babies. So if you want to have a meditation and leave your what you found in the comments of the next podcast, that's awesome. Let's get out there and see. Are we going to get like a sort of a similar message to everyone? Are we going to be able to build a story out of this? Let's put it to the test.
Yeah, I mean, Campbell, when we started this, we're on the Crystal City hunt, and that was hyper imaginative. And yet, at the same time, like our intention was to get to a location where we could cast our consciousness onto it. But, we could have done that like infinitely, over and over again by now, just in our meditation. And, when you're
Yeah.
distracted by trying to figure it out further and further and further, which we have been, and that's the nature of this work. And I applaud everyone's efforts. Hello. But now I so would
Mm.
love to hear if I would love our audience to do a meditation on that topic and see what they get organically. See what comes to them. There will be so much amazing information. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. So there you go. You've got homework, everyone. That's your assignment for next week. Meditate on the patch babies. Ask what happened. Were there baby farms? Where did we all come from? Are we all descendants? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So, all right. So I think that's a good place to end today's little chat. I
I
think
think so. Oh, yes.
So, yeah, look, Campbell does amazing work, like bringing forward a lot of this information into some sort of like timeline, where you can, I love the work that you put out, Campbell, because, and all the content creators, because you're leaving a pathway for others to join and get through all this information. And basically you're helping the world deprogram from history. And that to me is noble work because it's a last bastion of our reference point of reality. Like if you're going to like debunk yourself from all the other programs, but yet you still have some validity in history itself, like you haven't actually got out of the greatest, entrapment, I guess. So all of everyone's work
Mm,
on these channels have done amazing for helping people bust through history and geography and
yeah.
science and all of it.
Yeah.
But history,
Yeah.
big one. And yeah, but now we're looking at the and beyond part. The tour is called Tartaria and Beyond, because the beyond part is where actually we're all like going to have to go, because there's nowhere else to go from here, content wise. I don't believe.
Mm, mm. And and more than content wise as well. We literally, when you start building this new world, we all start talking about. Nothing's going to happen if we sit around talking about it.
Yeah.
So I think everyone out there, if you can and you want to, start trying to form physical groups, even if it's just meeting up for a coffee once a week. Discuss, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, get people to give solutions. That's something we do at our events, is we put people in the group so that if anyone's got any problems or things they want to achieve, everyone else can help them with solutions. And this is where the power is, right? It's
Yeah.
not in going online and buying stuff and going back to the system and all this. It's us. It's us
Yeah.
connecting as real live beings again and interacting and helping and sharing and collectively creating a better thing, right? A better reality.
Because isolation is the biggest dream killer. And actually, at our lives so far, like especially the one in Melbourne, like the groups that formed out of that, the different color groups, like they're thriving. They're online, they're having meetups, they're thriving right now. So, isolation is the dream killer. Hello, social distancing and all the shit and everything that technology does. It just all leads back to isolation. Everything about it leads back to isolation. Even people comparing themselves to people online, they don't even know if those beings online are real. Probably they're not. And you're isolating your own gifts and dreams. You're isolating yourself. We isolation is the
Yeah.
single harshest thing to do to human being, and in so many ways, so many subtle ways, and not so subtle ways, the human being has been isolated. So yeah, I mean, it says a lot about community and gatherings, a
Yep.
lot, and obviously
I
meditations. And
agree. Everyone
yeah,
isolated.
so maybe it's even worth, as
Mm,
we start to like refine and mature through this pathway now, that actually Campbell and I do host some group meditations here on the channel live, where we actually do together sit down and consciously tune in to those topics, whatever topic we're on at the time, and do it together and see what we get live. Like I love all that shit, and that to me is the content that is going to be the only source that we can really
yeah.
continue to
Let us know
research
what you
under.
think about that, guys. And Something else we're definitely going to be getting into hopefully this year is like weekend courses, things like that, meditation courses, sleep courses, all this kind of, like
Dreams.
where we can get
Lucid
away, get
dreaming.
20 or 30 people together, and yeah, the dream courses and all this, and spend time doing this stuff, like actually taking the action and getting the
Yeah.
experience and doing it with other people, and
Yeah.
really start to get off the computer more and back out into the real world, because like we said before, it's the matrix. They're trying to trap us in the computer world. We all know about virtual reality and all their virtual worlds that they want us living in, but I'm not going there. I'm going
Yeah. I
somewhere
mean,
else. I'm going where
con-
there's vegetables and animals
content creators are bound to AI. Like we're bound to
yeah,
it. So, and if you make your income from it, you're bound by it. If you've got a job now, you're
yeah,
bound to it. Like we're bound. So, like it does take some some defining the experience you want, and then how can you grow towards it, action steps, like definitely, because we've got to, like, I guess, what's the word, um we've got to find the same benefits that we are getting being bound to the AI through a different source. Like, I think everyone can
yes,
acknowledge that, the truth in that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to fulfill our needs from a different source. From source, all right, back to source.
Anyway,
So there we go.
I think I'm repeating myself now, so we should probably like
We're,
say
we're we're starting to get into that. We should
farewell,
have finished 5 minutes
goodbye.
ago, guys.
All right, cool,
So yeah,
man.
guys, thanks for spending some time with me. We love you all. You'll find links below. Are the tickets up yet? I don't know. Is
Yeah,
there a link for the
okay.
tickets for our event?
We're so
Maybe
bad
there
at
is.
advertising.
Maybe.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes. The next live
All
event,
right. The link for the tickets will be below. Yay.
is going to be in Lismore. We were intending it to be in Brisbane, but Lismore just came up intuitively, and that's where it's going to be. It's going to be at the Star Theatre. We'll sell it out. There's 350 seats available. We've already sold 100. So yeah, like it's going to be really an amazing event. We're going to celebrate this area, these people, this consciousness that is here, firing so strong. And JC and Campbell are flying in, and it's going to be just a fantastic weekend as always. And our first event for 2023 on the Tartaria and Beyond tour. Tickets are below.
Mm.
I want to put up on the tickets a pay back sort of scheme, like Afterpay, where you can pay off your ticket. But I don't know
Oh,
of a
yes, yes.
platform that I can do it with. So if anyone out there has any insight onto that, I'd love to hear from you. It would just help a lot of people if they could just like, just pay it off bit by bit, as opposed to like.
Mm,
So yeah, I mean, if anyone knows, I
yes.
tried Afterpay and we don't qualify, and I don't know anyone else. So yeah, let me know if anyone out there can
I just
help with that.
no, yeah. Email us if you leave it in the comments. We'll never see it. So there'll be an email address below.
Yeah, or just call the number and our
And
amazing
there we
Alice
go.
will respond.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll put the phone number down as well. That's right. God, we're actually getting pretty professional.
Well,
We got
just having
emails and phone numbers and all types of stuff.
real people at the end of the line. Um,
And
so
that's the
yeah,
thing. Yeah, it'll be a real person. Yeah.
one last thing, footnote. I just want to mention that I've been doing a course, and it's really been supporting me
Oh,
changing into my positive frame of mind. Call out to the course if anyone needs a little bit of assistance, like I have had in the last couple of weeks. It's actually called the Silver Technique, and I found it on a platform called Mind Valley. And it's a 28-day course where it's anywhere between 6 minutes to 18 minutes in the mornings. It's just a guided talk, but it puts you down through the alpha down to theta levels of consciousness, and you listen to this thing on your headphones, and you do these amazing activities with your mind, reprogramming yourself basically, and highly advanced, and I highly
mm,
recommend it. So that's on the Mind Valley platform if anyone's interested in following that up. And the questions that I
yeah.
started
And
to
it's
look at with the like, what am I wanting to experience, that sort of was inspired by that program. So just wanted to footnote that, call out if anyone needs that extra bit of assistance like
Needs it.
I
Yep.
have.
And it's SIVA silver, not as in ER. So SILVA. And they're also online. If you can't find them on Mind Valley, just chuck them into the internet, and they got heaps of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's been going for what, 60 years or something?
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff.
It's good stuff. All right. So guys, amazing, great chat, Campbell. I think that was a really significant thought process to begin 2023 with, and our work with Tartaria Australia. And I'm really looking forward to next week to see what we come up with. And yeah, like I'm really excited about the live event. It's by the way, it's April the 15th. So yeah, get your tickets and come and hang out with your people for a day and be inspired, because
Indeed, it will
they're
sell
big
out
events.
fast.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right, buddy.
There we go.
Excellent. All right. Well,
Thanks,
look,
guys. We'll talk to you all next week.
Yep. You guys have an amazing week. Stay positive and start asking yourself, what is the experience you want to be having with all this information? All right, guys, we love you. Have a beautiful week.